Today I'm talking to Haley about relationships. As I promised you before, I want to do a whole thing about relationships because I think it's important. We are both in our early 40s. Um, Haley is going through separation at the moment, and I am in a relationship. So I would like to address this to all the ladies in your early 40s, just as we are. Haley, if you were to start dating again when you're ready, what things would you look for? Where would you start? And what things would you look for in your next partner?
Okay, so obviously I've got to think about my kids, so I've really got to think carefully about the right person if I was to go there. So that would be definitely something on my mind. A lot of my friends have used dating apps and things like that, but for me, that scares the hell out of me. Like I wouldn't know where to start, and I don't think I'd ever do it like that because literally, like most of that is judging someone just purely on the looks. And some people don't take good photos, like
That's
they
true.
really don't. Or some people can take really good photos and actually in real life it's not genuine. So yeah, I don't think that's not a
The way
great
to
way
go for
for
you.
for me. No, I know it's worked for lots of people in the past. Like I literally just attended a wedding last week where they met on Tinder, so obviously it does work. But I think I'd want to be meet through mutual friends maybe, or just naturally like in the pub or whatever.
So,
But
how
yeah.
many chances do you think would be for that? Because we know lots of people hit the dating sites, and I have met my partner through a dating site. I have to admit,
Mm.
I was lucky to actually have a happy ending to that. So, do you think that the lack of communication, maybe because you're not face to face with the person and they can pretend they are someone else, do you think that's a problem? Is it the trust that you find difficult with the dating sites?
I'm not really sure. I think it's because I've never done it. I'm a little bit probably judgmental when I shouldn't be. But yeah, you're right. Like I do know a few people that have had like
Catfished.
really successful
Mm,
relationship. But yeah, also
mm.
you can get some really dodgy people like sending photos and stuff. I'm sorry to be prude, but I don't want that. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I'd like to meet someone in real life and actually get to know them before
The old
anything.
fashioned way.
Yeah, exactly. I am really old fashioned, and I want to go on dates and just you know have fun rather than
Sit and text and wait for the next message, maybe next week.
yeah,
And
and swipe right or left or whatever. Like
mm-hmm.
I'd be rubbish because I'd get confused. Like
Which
I'd probably
direction?
be like, oh, I've done that wrong. I've just got rid of my potential future husband or whatever. Yeah, I'd be crap. But yeah,
So, do you think people tend to date in sites also because lack of time?
yeah, definitely. It's probably a lot more convenient because you can probably keep swiping and then every night potentially be speaking to a different person.
It's more choice because you see everyone there
Yeah,
putting themselves out there.
yeah, exactly. And obviously, not everyone that uses them is weirdos because a lot of my friends use them and a lot of people
Mm.
have been successful. So there's got to be normal people.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to
To be
be
lucky to find
lucky to
them.
find them, exactly. But yeah, unless I mean, obviously, I'm not looking for anyone at the moment. I
Mm-hmm.
probably won't for a long time. And if I do, when it comes to that really struggle, then maybe I'll look at that. But I very much doubt I will.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll just let it happen naturally. Or I don't mind being set up, like if, because obviously I trust my friends to set me
Mm-hmm.
up with a normal person. Yeah.
So, for a woman in her early 40s, what would you look for in your next partner? Do you have a set list of qualities that you expect to find, or what would make you happy in your next relationship?
Um, somebody that's I don't know. They've obviously got to have some kind of job, career, um, rather than just
Go with the flow.
going like one job to the next. I mean, that's kind of acceptable in your early 20s because you're just finding yourself. But when you're our age, you kind of hope that somebody's a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Stability.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Obviously, I don't need someone to look after me. That's my job. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't want someone to then also try and sponge off me. So, you know,
That's a fair thing to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
what about the
someone with
romance side? Would you
romance.
expect to be taken on dates, wined and dined? How important is that side for you? The romance, the connection that you create in the beginning. Is that
Yeah.
something that you look for, or do you think romance is old-fashioned?
No, I really like the idea of romance, and I've never really had it, which is a bit sad, but I've never really had it. I would like to go on like dates and stuff, and for someone else to be thinking what would be like a nice thing to do, what would be quite cute to do, rather than that, because it's always kind of been me in relationships that's been like saying, oh yeah, I think we should do this, and then like setting it up and making it happen and everything. It would be nice to be wooed
And to
you know.
find a man with initiative.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than just plodding along. I'd like someone to be proactive and actually
Get things done for you.
and
for once.
it makes you feel nice, doesn't it? And
Yes, it
yeah.
does. So, how would you see this starting? Do you prefer to speak face to face or over the phone, or do you like messaging more?
I think it's good to messaging's fine to start with. Obviously, you do need face to face
Interaction.
eventually, but you don't want it to be too pressurized.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I would want to go like straight out for a meal with someone. I think it would need to be like, let's maybe meet for like a drink or a cuppa or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just like see. Also, you've got an exit as well if you need to. You can be there for half an hour if you want to, rather than a meal is kind of a couple of hours type thing, isn't it?
That's true. And you have the option to leave because the coffee takes less than the whole dinner.
And like at the end of the meal, like, do you pay for yourself? Do you pay for both of them? Do they pay for you? And if they do pay for you, do you then feel like you're like leading them on if you don't want anything else to happen or whatever? But with like a cup of coffee or whatever, that's obviously a couple of pounds, so that's not that's a lot less stressful, and you're more likely to order separately. There's a lot of things I think about. I overthink.
I asked that because I noticed that lately people text a lot.
Yeah.
It's not so much communication anymore, and people text and text and text rather than just picking up the phone and calling or meeting in person, because I think is easier, and they want to avoid maybe uncomfortable situations or confrontation.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of texting now, and I personally don't think that is helping, because you set a pattern from the beginning. We're just gonna text for the next 3 months. So again, going back to the who's gonna pay for the meal or for the coffee. Do you think we should establish that at the beginning, or are we expecting the men to pay for us on the first date, or how do you think is fair?
I would definitely never expect someone to pay for me. Even in my marriage, if we went out, I would never expect for my husband to pay, unless he offered, and that would be nice. But yeah, I feel like for me, I would always offer to pay at least my half, and possibly if it was payday, I might offer just to pay the whole thing. I guess it depends on what it is and how long you've been dating, etc. Yeah.
I've heard men saying that, and that was quite funny to hear. If they go on a first date because they don't know the person and they don't know if it's worth it to invest, they will go half-half, and then they meet the person, and if they actually click, next time they will pay everything. So that sounds a bit funny, because I believe every man, a true man, men out there, should be able to take you on a first date and be nice, make it nice for you. If they want to impress you, I think they should make the effort to pay for the whole dinner.
Yeah, I mean, they could offer rather than just assume, because I think a lot of people nowadays, right, because, modern times, some women don't like it because they're like trying to be all feminist and like, oh, I can look after myself, etc. So I think if a guy's gonna do that, that's absolutely fine, but he definitely needs to offer. And if the woman says no, it's okay, I've got it, he needs to just accept that and go with it, because otherwise, some people,
maybe that's a mistake we women make, because
definitely.
We want to come across strong and independent and self-sufficient, but it doesn't mean you can't accept a dinner or a coffee. Maybe that's
and
where we
vice
set
versa.
it wrong.
If the woman wants to pay and the man's like, oh, actually,
it should go both ways.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm referring more to first dates because I'm trying to see what women are looking for these days to make a relationship start nicely. So what do you think are in your experience with your friends and yourself, what do you think is the pattern of mistakes that we are making to make a long-term relationship last?
Probably, like you said earlier, communication. Like with texting and stuff, you could say something to me and I could take it completely the wrong way because you've not spoken to me face to face or on the phone or something. Because even tone of voice with the phone, I would understand it, but on a text message, I might be like, "Oh, why are you
What
saying
did you
that
mean?
for?" And then I would then say something in return, which you'd be like, "Oh," and it just completely changes the mood. And I think that's where things can go wrong, really. I think that's a lot of life, really. It's like at work, we're always emailing and Teams messaging rather than actually, picking up the phone or going to someone's desk. Obviously, most of us work from home now, but yeah, we're taking the easy option, and so yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we should be picking up the phone or actually meeting up rather than relying on texting. Or
So that's something we can take with us after this. Pick up the phone and call her rather than messaging for 3 months.
Yeah.
That might be a better start. And
it
you
might
get
be
to
a
know
bit
each
scary
other
at first. But the
easier.
first time you phone someone, it might be a bit like, ooh. But actually, once you few minutes into the conversation, and you'll definitely see if there's a spark quicker, I think, that way.
Exactly, the spark. So you also get to know that person faster rather than spending 3 months texting.
Yeah.
Just go for a coffee. That's what I always say. We all have just a little bit of time. We are busy with kids, with work, with our careers.
Yeah.
So why drag it? If you want to meet someone,
all you
just
need
go for a
is
coffee.
an hour after work. You don't need
Exactly.
it to be the whole evening or anything like that. So yeah.
I think some men believe that the texting and the slow smoke, the slow fire starting by messages might be sexy, but I don't think we find that sexy. I guess it depends what age you are.
Yeah.
If you're maybe 19, 20, 25, I think that's okay. But if you are at our age, for example, I would just rather go for a coffee and just save some time.
Yeah,
and
have
see
a
if there is
conversation. You can
anything
have
there.
a lot more conversation in half an hour, like face to face, than you can over a few hours waiting for the other one to be looking back at their phone and everything, and then also, oh, they've seen it but they haven't replied. But actually,
and that's a waste
you don't
of time.
know what they're doing on the other side. They have a life. They might have kids to look after or whatever, and then you're getting all paranoid waiting for it. So it's definitely.
And then you worry, and then you wonder, what did I do wrong? He read my message, but he didn't reply.
And then you're worried that if you message them again, you'll be needy, and it's just it's a lot.
It's a whole complication. So we established. So let's speak in person. Let's meet for a coffee, and let's talk over the phone. To get to know each other faster. Do you think that people are putting the same effort in relationship these days as much as our grandparents used to?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know like divorce rates a lot higher now. But then I don't know if that's about effort or if back in the olden days
circumstances
it was harder to leave people, and people were not as confident. And a lot of women, for example, they didn't work, so if they did decide to leave their husbands, they wouldn't necessarily have anywhere to be, or they'd have to move back in with their parents or whatever. So it was harder back then. So I don't think it's necessarily effort. I think it's more circumstances.
The circumstances, that has changed. Everything has changed now, and also the option and the choice that you have. As we said with the dating sites, you scroll to the left and to the right, you have thousands of people to choose from.
Yeah.
Our grandma didn't have anyone. Like you said, she would have been left on the street.
Well, even so when I was dating, I've been married, I've been with my partner now for 17 years. So before him, I mean, I think there were a couple of dating apps, but they weren't very, like you had to actually go onto your laptop and actually do it like that. And now, like, I just went away for a weekend with a couple of friends, and 2 out of 4 of us were on the dating apps, and they had about 3 or 4 on the go, and I was like, what is this about? It's like completely minefield. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's convenient, and also like if you travel about a bit, I guess you can find people that are near to you. But
location. What do you think about people's influence on us? I want to break up, but what would my neighbors say if they don't see? If I move, what would my mom say? What would my friends say? Would they judge me? So do you think that applies more pressure to our decisions? It slows things down.
Yeah, I definitely think that people do worry about what other people are going to think.
I find it's less and less lately, actually.
Yeah.
I think people don't really care about what people
It's
say.
not as bad as it used to be.
Mhm.
Definitely not. There's not as much stigma. Like, go back like 20 years and divorce was like, ooh, you know.
Mhm.
But now it's sadly it's quite a common word,
And
it's
that's
not.
a better thing now. It's a positive thing that people
Yeah.
don't care about so much about other people's opinions.
Yeah, it's definitely like you shouldn't. I mean, obviously it's easier said than done, but you shouldn't worry about what other people think. As long as you are happy and your kids are happy and you're safe, then that should be all that matters.
So that is a good thing to remember. So it's our life and we are in control.
Yeah.
Our neighbors wouldn't know the ins and outs of our relationship, so we shouldn't let that affect our decisions. So how would you, in an ideal world, what would be the ideal man for you, Hayley?
The ideal man, Tom Hardy, please. I don't know, someone probably a little bit rough around the edges. Definitely a sense of humour. That is my main thing.
When you say rough on the edges, is that surfer look?
No. I don't know, like
a manly man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
like,
some banter and
no boy band. I don't want that pretty boy.
No baby faces.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, definitely sense of humour. Someone who's a bit clever, but not someone that will like talk down to you and be like lording it all over. Yeah, exactly.
To belittle you.
I wouldn't want someone that would just be like, oh yeah, did you know this, and oh, didn't you know that? And it's like,
how come you didn't know
yeah,
that? It makes you feel like an
that's
idiot.
a complete put off. So yeah, it needs to be someone that's clever but doesn't know it, if you know what I mean.
So do you think the intellectual level has to match ours?
I do.
Is that an important factor to be at the same level?
Yes, definitely.
So someone that is not arrogant, is clever, but he doesn't know it. He doesn't show off.
Oh, yeah,
he's not cocky. I think that's what it is.
That's it, yeah.
What about do you want a man with six-pack, private jet?
Private jet. Wow.
Are you looking for that side, or it's not really first on your tick list?
No, that doesn't matter. Like, as long as he's got a job and he's like
stable,
not going to be a sponger, then that doesn't matter to me. Yeah, money definitely doesn't mean anything really. Six-pack, no, because then I'd feel really insecure.
Please don't have six-pack, make me insecure.
Well, no, you can if you like, but no.
Well, don't expect us to be the same, right? You hit
not.
the gym every time you go.
Yeah.
What about the human qualities? Because you have 2 children.
Yeah.
So how would you look for someone that also has maybe children? Someone that is, do you want him involved with your children as much as possible, or do you want him to take a back seat and wait until you are ready to decide that?
I think with the children, if I were to ever meet someone, it would probably be quite a long time before I'd introduce them, especially my youngest, because he's just turned 8, so obviously
confusing.
It's very confusing, and I wouldn't want to introduce someone that wasn't going to be there for the long haul type thing.
You just want to play safe.
I need to know in my own mind that it was definitely serious, and then I would introduce things very, very slowly.
This is another issue we're having. If you're in your 40s and you have your own children, it's hard to open up to the dating world again.
Yeah, especially if they have children as well. And what if the children don't get on? Like,
that could be a
don't
problem.
know, do you? Yeah.
Some men don't have a problem with putting their kids out there, and what I noticed, some people use their kids as a trophy, and they think it's sexy if you
like a magnet
pose with your kids. Exactly.
Yeah.
Use the kids as a magnet for women, and I don't believe that is right, me personally.
No.
Because that can create scars for the kids if you push them too soon. They can, and next week they don't see that man again in your life.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
will be very confused.
I don't think that's right. And I have got a couple of people in my life that have maybe introduced too soon, and then they've been a couple of weeks later they've split up and then they've met someone else, and it's just not fair on the kids. I mean, it's hard enough for us, but they shouldn't have to go through the relationship breakdown again,
because that's the model set for them.
They might then form a relationship with this person, and then we whisk them out their lives, and then
And also they grow up thinking that's all right to have
Yeah,
people
exactly.
in your life on a weekly basis, which is not right what we want, is it?
Yeah.
So you will know in your heart when the right person comes along and when is the time to introduce your children.
Yeah. If and when I ever do meet someone, it will definitely
Of course you will, Hayley.
It will be.
I know it's hard to think
definitely
about it
time.
now because you're literally just
Yeah.
separating, but we have to have hope, because without hope we have nothing. So just try to keep a positive mind, and I'm sure you will meet someone one day,
Well,
the right person for you.
watch this space.
Is there anything else you want to add as an advice for all women, really, but more for women who struggle because they are in their 40s, maybe menopause is kicking in, maybe they have a couple of kids? Just give them some advice that would encourage them to still put themselves out there and not be scared because they have been disappointed.
Well, for me, like, I'm obviously older now, like I'm double the age I last was when I went out and even thought about this. So I'm like super insecure about myself, but then I also think I'm not that bad. So
of course.
So you know, and I do have people, like I got chatted up the other day. That was quite nice. I was like, oh, I mean,
I still got it.
It didn't go anywhere, but it felt nice.
It makes you feel better.
Yeah, exactly. And
the self-confidence we're lacking, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you've just got to be open to
why not?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't know, and also don't necessarily just sack someone off just because they don't necessarily fit my list, or they don't look like Tom Hardy. Things
so
like that.
So you don't go with a list. Do you have a list?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there are definitely things that would be red flags to me.
It's recognizing those red flags, isn't it? That we struggle with sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's where we learn from our like exes and things. We learn like, oh, definitely don't want someone like that again. Definitely, you know, like that. Because my exes, like, they couldn't be more different. I do not have a type. It's crazy, isn't it? Like, you look back on paper and it's like, what?
The opposites of each other.
Yeah.
Also, I would say don't follow your ex's qualities. There's a reason why they are ex. But I noticed that many people, maybe unconsciously, they look for someone that is similar to their exes in ways, and you compare. We don't even realize, but we keep comparing our current partners sometimes with our exes, and you think, oh, he did that, but that's not necessarily a good thing, because you have to also remember, like, this is the reason why is your ex and you're not together anymore. So when you get carried away comparing, just remember why you broke up. So don't follow I call it the ex ghost.
Yeah.
It comes up in podcasts and books, the ex syndrome. So people follow that pattern, and I think that's the first mistake we make, because you don't want somebody else. It makes just sense. Like your ex.
But also, so I haven't been cheated on before, but I know people that have, and obviously that must be a massive breakdown of trust. And I feel that people that I know that have then got into further relationships, they've naturally got that barrier. And they just don't have that trust, and I get it, but also it's not fair to
punish the person in front of you for your scars.
Not everyone is the same as that person that's cheated on you,
It's hard sometimes to remember saying that, because we are traumatized and we step into a relationship with these scars, but we have to remember it's not their fault. They haven't made the scars.
Definitely have some barriers, like you've got to protect yourself.
Maybe you're more aware.
Yeah, exactly.
More careful.
And the more that you like project this mistrust, that's going to then cause issues with your relationship, when actually they might not have done anything wrong, but now you're being all jealous and mistrusting. That might put them off you. So it's a big thing.
Yeah. I think we also have to remember, when we start a relationship, what our insecurities. I just realized, if I know I'm very jealous, and then I have trust issues, I have to remember not to punish my new partner, because he hasn't given me any reason yet to. And do you think time then, because we have to know the person better, do you think it's better to take our time to trust that person rather than jumping in a relationship blindly, like when we were 20? So is the age now, is the age making a difference in our decisions, do you think?
I think it probably is for most, because at our age you're probably looking for a more stable long-term partner rather than
A fling.
a fling, and
Mm.
then it wouldn't matter if you got with someone the next week type thing. So yeah, for me, I think it would take me a long time to trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not bad on them. It's just like I said, it's having a barrier. And I think a lot of that is because I know that I've got to think about my children at the end of the day.
And it changes everything when you have
It
children.
really
It's a
does.
completely different story.
You've got to think about it, because like the amount of unhealthy relationships I was in before kids that I would never even dream of being in now,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not just thinking about yourself.
Do you think is a man out there for every single woman? Do you think is there the one that we will find, or do you make
What, like soulmates?
Do you make it exactly? Do you believe in soulmates?
I believe there's about 8 soulmates for each person. Like literally, there could
I
be
agree.
like groups.
You have more than one. It's not just the
yeah,
one.
yeah. It's not just one, because
We make it
imagine
a
that
one,
the
don't
amount
we?
of people in this world, like you'd never find them, would you?
I think that's a mistake we're making, because we disregard people so quickly because of the choice.
Yeah.
And you end up in your 40s and you think, oh, now I have the career, I have all I wanted, now I'm going to look for the one. But you may realize it's a bit late. Where is the one? He's already taken by somebody else.
Yeah, don't settle, but also don't dismiss so quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Based on these boxes we mentioned,
Yeah.
6-pack and private jets.
Yeah, people do that so easily, don't they? They're like, oh, he's got like funny hair.
Exactly, because I have 1,000 men that I can choose from.
Yeah.
So I think that's
That's
the problem.
why I don't like the swipe thing. I mean, I know that you can look further down into it, but also that's literally like what, 1 or 2 paragraphs where they've had to literally say hobbies and things, and it's silly. Like, I don't
There
think
is a
anyone
lot
would
of
care
fake
about my
profiles.
hobbies. That doesn't really tell you anything about me.
No.
No one's gonna say, oh, she likes Harry Potter, I can't be with her. You know.
It's scary now to date online, to be fair, because there are many fake profiles online, and we all know that, ladies. There's a lot of catfish in there. Lots of famous actors, models, they just take their pictures if you don't know about them. So it's a bit scary for me. It would be scary now to start going and finding a man on the dating sites, because I don't think they are who they say they are anymore.
So you've automatically got that barrier up.
Yes, I
even
already have
before
that.
you've met them.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that I don't have to go through that anymore, at least for a while, I hope.
Yeah.
So I would be scared. I don't think I would turn to websites, to dating sites now to find my next partner if I had to.
Yeah.
I would say, as you say, maybe take my time, be alone for a while, which I think is important, to be alone for a while with yourself and think what you actually want next time, so it doesn't end up in a mess.
Yeah.
And just take your time. That's what I would say. But no, dating sites, I think is it worked once, but I wouldn't say it would work every single time for everyone. I was just lucky to find someone genuine.
That's good.
Well, I'm sure you will meet someone, Hayley, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.